out a little bit better for us. But also standing by in Toronto is a professor with Simon Fraser University, the university, of course, in the Vancouver area, but our professor is in Toronto. And one of the things that I'd like to ask you about is, you know, I can see some Canadians feeling like Egypt is half a world away and wonder what impact the changes there will have beyond the borders of Egypt. What do you think the headline might be there?
Well, Ian, I think that many people are watching wherever they are the progress of democracy in the various countries which saw Arab Spring type revolts, and of course Egypt was, in a sense, front and center as a democratic transition among those various contexts. And so today's events will certainly concern people who are thinking about not only Egypt but about Tunisia, about Libya, about Syria, and about the other countries which have seen so much upheaval in recent years. And they'll be asking the question, exactly what sort of future will those other countries face? Will it be similar to the type of future, the type of happenings that we're seeing in Egypt today?
How would that influence happen for people, governments, and people on the streets of some of the other countries in the region? What sort of impact? Presumably they're watching their local television channels. They are communicating perhaps by social media. But how do you think the events in Egypt are actually going to have an impact on what happens in the streets elsewhere?
Well, it's a good question, Ian. I mean, one of the most important things I think people are watching is the Islamist component in all of this. Mohamed Morsi was the first democratically elected president of Egypt, but we have to keep in mind he was from the Muslim Brotherhood. He was the very first Islamist to rule Egypt. And so given the ascendancy of Islamist forces in other Arab Spring countries, as I said, in Tunisia, in Libya, given the influence of Syria's Muslim Brotherhood in the conflict there, I think people are going to be asking important questions specifically about the future of Islamist movements, whether they can integrate themselves properly into the various democratic transitions that we're seeing unfold across the region.
All right, Paul Sedra, thanks for your analysis, and we will come back to you one more time before the end of the hour.